So one change is already here regarding the future of the NFL that has a lot of people excited, but some changes are likely to happen very soon that some will not be excited about at all. Well, in today's video, I'm going to dive into the most recent updates surrounding the NFL annual league meetings and what's at stake, but not before I talk about the 49ers making moves to shore up their cornerstone pieces, the Bears doing the same today via a big extension, the NFL giving the Lions a pretty big advantage this upcoming season, and more right after. Alright, first up, the San Francisco 49ers recently made Fred Warner the highest paid linebacker in all of football, handing him a 3-year extension worth $63 million, with a whopping $56.7 of that being guaranteed. This is actually the second time in his career that he's become the highest paid at his position after signing a new deal. He inked a 5-year, $95 million deal back in 2021, and now he snags another $63 million. I mean, the guy deserves every bit of that. He's only 28 years old and a cornerstone, a pillar of that Niners defense. That's been the theme since he stepped foot in the league back in 2018. He led the team in tackles his rookie year and has continued to do exactly that for 7 straight seasons. His durability is basically unmatched as well. He's only missed 1 game in his NFL career, and it was back in 2021 due to a hamstring injury. Now, he did fracture his ankle last year, week 4, but never missed a game, playing 100% of defensive snaps the next 7 games, and also played the most special team snaps since his rookie year. He finished the 2024 season with over 130 tackles for the 4th season in a row and was voted first team All-Pro, his 4th time making an All-Pro team. So yeah, this was an easy payday for the 49ers to make. Getting deals done like this, though, still has its costs. San Fran lost several key pieces on both sides of the ball this offseason, but this is the 3rd major extension they've handed out now. They gave George Kittle 4 years, $76.4 million, then Brock Purdy that big ol' 5-year, $265 million deal. More on him in a second. And now they extend Fred Warner. Those are all cornerstone players, so it makes sense that the team would prioritize them, even if it came at the expense of losing several other quality starters. And back to Purdy's contract, it was revealed yesterday that he actually has a no-trade clause as part of his new deal. That's significant because he can veto any trade involving him, which just gives him a little bit more control and security, and that's something nearly every NFL player would desire. But the Niners are far from the only team out here handing out extensions. The Chicago Bears followed suit today and paid their newly traded for guard Joe Thuney. They agreed on a 2-year extension at $17.5 million per year, which now has his contract looking like 3 years for $51 million and $33.5 of it fully guaranteed at signing. He's yet to play a snap for the Bears, but they have very high hopes for him after trading the Chiefs a 2026 4th-round pick to acquire him. He will be 33 in November, but is still one of the best pass-blocking guards in all of football. He's remained consistent at that high level year in and year out, past 3, 4, 5 years, and he should have plenty left in the tank. He did suffer a pec injury in the playoffs leading up to Super Bowl 58, so 2 postseasons ago, but came back strong last year, even kicking out to the left tackle spot in the back half of the season when the Chiefs' left tackle spot was as unreliable as Kadarius Toney trying to catch a football. On top of that, Thuney has made an All-Pro team the last 3 seasons and is expected to be a big part of Chicago's offensive line overhaul. Thuney is one of the most decorated guards in the game as well. If he hadn't injured that pec, he'd have played in 6 Super Bowls between his time in New England and KC, and regardless, still has 4 rings. And hey, speaking of Super Bowl rings, the defending Super Bowl champs just extended their head coach in Nick Sirianni. The full details at this point in time are not fully out yet, but they did sign him to a multi-year deal that for sure puts him in the ballpark of one of the highest paid head coaches in all of football. Love Sirianni or hate him, it's a rather black or white thing for a lot of people. In his 4 years as the Eagles head coach, he's played a role in helping Philly to make it to the playoffs all 4 years, and they've made it to 2 Super Bowls, winning 1. If that wasn't enough, he actually has the 2nd most regular season and playoff wins combined in the first 4 years of any head coach's career. And with a regular season record of 48-20, he currently has the highest win percentage of any active head coach, with Jim Harbaugh being 2nd. The knock on him, per the masses, if you don't believe in Sirianni is he's more of a game manager like John Harbaugh of the Ravens. He doesn't call the plays and also has arguably the best GM in the game and Howie Roseman constructing a literal super team, but you can't deny Sirianni's been effective at helping them stay motivated and consistently helping them get to the playoffs despite having different offensive and defensive coordinators almost every single year. Next up, I want to talk about a particular takeaway from the NFL schedule, and that would be rest advantage. That's when a team is coming off of more days of rest than their opponent. Well, according to Warren Sharp, the Detroit Lions actually have a net plus 13 days of rest over their opponents, which is the most in the NFL and the fifth largest advantage since the year 2000. Then they actually have 5 games this year in which the team they're playing against is coming off a Monday Night Football game the week prior. That's never happened before in league history, and neither has a team having rest advantage for 8 games too, which is what they also have. No other team in the NFC North has more than 4 days of rest advantage. Meanwhile, Detroit has 13. Now, while that is pretty crazy, rest advantage isn't everything. They have the 3rd toughest strength of schedule, so it's not going to be a complete cakewalk for Detroit or anything like that. Then if we flip sides on the same subject of rest advantage, we can see the Raiders are all the way at the bottom of this list with a minus 19 rest advantage. Good God. They already have an uphill battle in the very competitive AFC West as it is, and this certainly does not help them out. Another interesting nugget from the schedule is that there's only one team that plays 3 games in 11 days this year, and that would be the Dallas Cowboys. They play on Monday Night Football week 11, a Sunday game in week 12, and then that following Thursday on Thanksgiving Day. That's obviously not ideal for the Cowboys, but having one team, just one team having to go through that is way better than the plethora of teams that had to do so last year. All right, from here, let's talk about some big changes that could be coming to the NFL for this upcoming season, and a change that did get passed for something that's just never really happened before. Basically, here's what's going on. NFL owners are getting together for the annual league meetings in Minnesota this week and are voting on a few different proposals between today and tomorrow, with the 3 biggest being NFL players being able to play flag football in the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles. More on that in a bit. Playoff seeding being based solely on record rather than winning your division, and the tush-push no longer being allowed, among some other things that I'll talk about if and when these get passed. Now, most of these were tabled for this week because not quite enough support was there at the previous league meetings that took place prior to the NFL draft. The tush-push will get voted on tomorrow, with the initial proposal being submitted by the Packers getting revised a little bit. If passed, this would outlaw the pushing or pulling of a ball carrier in any direction at any time, taking the rule back to what it was until 2005. So this would in theory affect more than just the tush push, though that would still be the primary play affected. Votes were split at 16 apiece back in March, and 24 votes are needed to pass, so it's going to be a tough one, could be close. Ari Mirov reported this morning that the belief around NFL circles is that prominent league figures, including the commissioner himself, Roger Goodell, want the tush-push banned. Ari then said his prediction is that the tush-push does indeed get banned this week, which I can't lie, would be pretty crazy, and I know the Eagles would be pissed. Then something else being voted on is the proposal to base playoff seeding on regular season records rather than division titles. This would prevent some team barely finishing over 500 on the year, for example, but their division sucks, and they are then locked into the 4th seed at worst, even though their record's not the greatest. The language of the proposal was updated a bit for this go-round, and basically, if you win your division, you make the playoffs still, but you aren't automatically locked into one of the 4 top seeds. The division winner with the best record will earn the 1 seed, but then the remaining 3 division winners and 3 wildcard teams that get in will be seeded purely based on regular season records. So a team that wins their division could actually become the 7th seed rather than the 4th. I will say there is not a lot of optimism this one will get passed, even with the change of verbiage on the newest proposal, but even if this does not get passed this year, changes are coming in some capacity down the road, because with the eventual addition of an 18th regular season game, the NFL wants to create more competition at the end of the season rather than less. The way it currently looks, many teams are locked into their seeds or will not fall low enough for it to matter the last week or 2 of the regular season, and therefore can rest their starters. That obviously creates some rather meaningless, boring, non-competitive games like we saw last year, for example, when the Chiefs rested their starters and got massacred by the Broncos starters 38-0 the last week of the regular season. The Chiefs were far from the only team to rest their starters, but this is just one example. Now, if a team was fighting between the 4th seed and at least home field advantage for one game, or the 7th seed, no home field advantage at all, and then you're guaranteed to face the 2 seed in the wild card round rather than the 6th seed, this should, in theory, motivate some teams to play their starters week 17, week 18, and the end of the season, the regular season, should be much more competitive. So while we won't know the outcome of the playoff seeding proposal or the ban of the tush push until tomorrow, something we do know that got passed today is flag football and NFL players being able to play flag football in the 2028 Olympics that's taking place in Los Angeles. This got voted 32 yeses to 0 no's. So everybody is fine with the idea of allowing their players to participate in flag football for the Summer Olympics of 2028. Now, a couple things worth mentioning about this. The league would only allow one player on each NFL roster to try out for one country's Olympic team. So that leaves the door open for multiple players on a single team to play in the Olympics if they are eligible for non-US rosters. And the example given here is one player could try out for the US team while another could try out for the Canadian team if they meet the ancestry requirements, and then each team's international pathway player could also try out for their country's team. So it's one NFL player and then also one of their international pathway players. Total of 2 per team in theory could try out. So with this being the debut of flag football in the Olympics, this is going to consist of 6 men's teams and 6 women's teams composed of 10 players per team, with the game being 5-on-5. And NFL players aren't just going to get gifted a spot on a team, okay? As per the terms agreed to, NFL participation with their country's national flag football teams will begin with a tryout or qualification process in advance of the Olympic competition. You know, that has some people worried, concerned. What happens if my player plays in the Olympics and gets injured? So while injuries are a legit concern, Charles Robinson is the senior NFL reporter for Yahoo. He spoke with an AFC team president, and they just go on to say, yeah, injuries are a concern, but every other major professional sport in America has been part of the Olympics for 30 years or more now. The NBA, NHL, and Major League Baseball have all been able to shoulder that risk. Now the NFL can be a part of it with moderately less risk than what happens on an NFL field. So yes, injuries could happen. Also, players could try out and not make it. I don't know why they would not make it, but this is very intriguing, very interesting. We will for sure see some players in the Olympics in 2028. Aside from the injury concerns, it is going to conflict with training camp in some capacity. So that's the other thing that you're going to have to navigate through. The NFL is going to work with the NFLPA and try to get this all ironed out. And they've got plenty of time to do it. It's only 2025. You got 3 years. Who knows when the tryout process actually is, but this is an interesting step in the right direction, I think, for more exposure worldwide for the NFL. And honestly, as a big NFL fan, I'm probably not watching flag football in the Olympics unless somebody like Justin Jefferson is catching passes, or maybe Mahomes or Lamar Jackson are throwing passes to whoever it ends up being. But let me know your thoughts on this in the comments down below. What do you think about NFL players being allowed to play in the Olympics? It's flag football, but where are your concerns at with the injuries, them potentially missing some training camp? Let me know your thoughts on all that in the comments down below. And with that, I'll see y'all next time.